It is proud to be alive. If you can't do that,
it's not something that you can just make up about yourself. You have to be able to show that you are as strong as you say you are. Especially if you're competing in strongman.
Episode 59 of Strong and Purdy.
Strong and Petty here, the Iron Age Studios at Iron Age Gym in the west end of Winnipeg, Manitoba. We're here with myself, Tyler Sigurdsson, professional strongman, and Devin Penner, professional strongman, organizer, promoter, setup guy. He does it all better than anybody else in the world right now. I'll say that. If I was as good of a pro strongman as you are as a pro strongman event organizer, I'd be pretty happy with that.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. We're here on the a very special Strong and Petty episode, the post World's Strongest Man episode. And not only was it just any World's Strongest Man, this was a very Canadian World's Strongest Man.
Yes.
We had for the first time since 2020. I should have looked this up, but
2021,
21. We had three finalists.
Was it 2022? Max got third. That was the year we had three. I
Max,
think.
Gabe, and God damn it! That's fucking embarrassing.
Should have rehearsed that shit.
I pride myself on being like unknowing this shit, and it's gonna kick me like.
Well, JF
didn't do that one. I don't.
Was JF not there when Max was there?
Oh, okay. This is getting.
Now we actually got to look.
I'm gonna look it up. Fuck.
Holy shit!
I know this shit too.
Yeah.
I'm actually like, if anybody is aware of my.
Tyler actually, he does a lot of. He's always texting me shit that I should know, but I don't know. I could put on a good event. But actually, there's nothing really I'm that passionate about in life that I spend as much time as this guy does into the intricates of who's who.
How about Mitch Hooper? Is that who we're thinking of?
Maybe
that wasn't even like a bit or anything to be like fuck Mitch Hooper or anything. That was just we.
Well, was that his first year then?
That was his first year.
So
It was Gabe, Mitch, and Max.
So where did he place his first year?
He made it to the finals.
He did, eh?
Yeah, and
I should turn myself down a bit.
He placed. Oh my god. Well, he did really well. Oh, there it is. Final standings. He did. He got 8th, which is like kind of hard to imagine, even actually.
Yeah, that was
him
first
finishing
year.
that low. That was his first strongman competition.
Right after doing marathons.
Yeah, that was his first. Like that was the funny thing is that his first World's Strongest Man was his first pro show. Was his first strongman competition. That was his first. That was the first time that he competed in a full strongman,
which makes no sense.
Which is insane.
And you get 8th.
But it could only happen post COVID because there was just nothing to base it on besides just this guy had fucking crazy numbers in the gym and he was very athletic, so they were like, "Fuck it, let's give it a chance." But anyway, we're not talking about that guy right now. We're talking about the real homegrown talents that we're all very very proud of, and like it was really nice to see especially since we can't watch World's Strongest Man.
No.
I'm sure that everybody who watches this is aware that World's Strongest Man does not air does not stream it in any way, their competition. They're very, very archaic and fucking dated in that it shows on TV around Christmas time in the UK and maybe never in Canada. Like it just sometimes
which
it
makes
doesn't
no
show
sense
up.
because there's enough Strawman archives, bar band, all these different websites, live updates, really fast updates.
Yep.
Everybody in the sport watches the event through social media and through these updates.
And people want to know. You know what I mean? Like people are excited to find out. It's like they diminish their whatever.
And we're passionate enough that we would pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a pay-per-view event.
And
like
I'll pay $70
bucks
to watch a good boxing fight.
For sure.
I would gladly pay $70 to watch a whole weekend of Strongman.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think that they should really consider something like that. And I know it's kind of old hat to talk about that because everyone's fucking everyone knows that, and it's really, really annoying. But it's just the way it is for some reason. Yeah. And but it was an awesome competition for the Mitch Hooper. I'm not trying to shit on him because everyone knows that he's an amazing athlete, amazing strongman competitor, all that stuff. Yeah. But when we think about the Canadian guys, the guys who are really like representing Canada, Mitch Hooper was there like repping his own thing, his own brand. He was Mitch Hooper. Yeah. But Tristan Ho and Wester Winsky were both. They're guys who've come up through the Canadian strongman system, who started off doing local shows in their area, made it to the pro circuit. They crush at pro shows, and now they crushed at World's Strongest Man. Yeah, like it was amazing. It was amazing to see these guys, And obviously, we have a little bit of a bias in the West here because we know Tristan. I just know him better.
And no one knew him until he came on our show.
And absolutely. I barely knew the guy before he was on the show. But
when I sent him that invite for Magnus, it was a pity invite.
Absolutely. Well, it was just like who's this big bald fat guy? Like, I guess I'll give him a call.
Jefferson, hey, can you invite my buddy Tristan? He's kind of.
That's how I remember it happening too. Actually,
that's clearly if I remember correctly. I was nice enough to share my mic with him during our podcast.
Absolutely, we didn't even have a mic for Tristan at that point. That's how little the whole thing resonated with us.
Please come back to our show.
We made sure Jeffers had a mic because we thought, this is the next big guy at Strongman. Boy, oh boy, were we wrong about that.
And I was busting Jeffers' balls in an episode about, Tristan's going to beat you at the show. What happened? I was just being an idiot.
Man.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anybody is actually waiting for the airing of it to avoid any spoilers of anything. But if you are, spoilers coming up here. So in the heat, man, Tristan winning his heat.
I didn't see it coming.
Unbelievable.
I said last podcast, I'm like, you know what? He wins the Magnus, wins the Magnus show here, goes to the Magnus qualifier, wins that, goes to that pro show, wins that. I'm like, wouldn't it be crazy he makes the finals? And I said, or wins in total, but and then I did my pick for my pool, and I'm bragging on here about how Tristan's going to make it. I go and do my pick, and it was you text that night, hey, Devin jumped in this pool, Thrones made it, and he put a lot of work to it. I'm like, shit. And I had 3 minutes to do my picks.
Yeah.
And I'm just picking. I'm going through names. Like, I know these guys. I'm like, Holt. I'm like, I hope he does well. I didn't have him winning.
See, you thought you were picking with your brain instead of your heart.
Yes.
But sometimes it's the same thing.
I should always follow my heart.
You always follow your heart. Follow that big gut of yours.
Tristan. Sorry, Tristan.
Because I picked Tristan to win the stone off, which is what I genuinely believed that he had the ability to get to the finals through the stone off. He's good at stones. There's a lot of good events for him there. If he was against like a Trey Mitchell or whatever, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
But there were other guys there that if he was against them, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for him to pull ahead in the stone off.
Yeah.
But man, to just outright win it and to do it in a very convincing fashion too. Like
he won it.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Yeah, he did really, really amazingly in that. And by no means was his group like a bunch of slouches or anything.
10 days notice.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for that too. Is that Magnus mentioned that in a video that I saw. Yeah. That he pointed out that Tristan jumped in on this with you call it 10 days notice or whatever, but like it's essentially zero training for it.
It's not out of the question that if he had a prep like Singleton and Hooper and all these guys who have been prepping the show for 6 months. I mean, I don't know if you knew the events that far out. I don't know when they released the events.
They didn't. They knew the events only somewhat recently, but I also think that there's probably guys who know things before other guys. And
you probably
like
wouldn't
that.
have went and done that SCL show and won it knowing you were in Worlds.
Right.
It was not out of the question to say he would have been on the podium.
And that's the thing is that he's a guy where he stays very ready because he's just a fucking strong guy. And we were kind of we have a group chat with some guys and we were kind of comparing some of the top Canadian guys right now. And Tristan's just really a guy where he doesn't really have a lot of like major holes in his game. Like he did well at the Conan's wheel, so he's good at the weird sort of strongman specific stuff like that too. And like
the one that kept him out of the podium was the keg toss.
The keg toss, yeah. And you look at how like competitive that keg toss was.
3 world records.
You had to do insanely well.
Yeah.
To just get 4th place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you had to be ready to match the world record to get 4th place. That Brian Shaw set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so it's
got a foot on everybody.
Right.
Well,
it's just an absolutely insane thing. And and speaking of that keg toss, we're gonna kind of just jump back and forth there all over the place. But Westerwinski with a world record his first time in.
So now he gets the world record because he broke it first.
As far as I'm concerned, he has the world record. He gets the world record, and other people match it. That's what I think
but
it is.
The way I see it, he has the world record. He
Yeah,
broke
absolutely.
it first.
Yeah,
tying the world records like kissing your sister. It's not that cool.
Yeah, it's there's or is it? Maybe it is. They
stepsister maybe.
The way that I see it, and me and Thrones were talking about this when it happened, is that he gets the record. Other people are able to match it, but it's still his record.
And he's 22 years old. 23?
I think he's a little older than that, but he's
dude. When they were listing his age, man, I think Derwinski is 22 or 23 years old.
I thought he was 45, but no, these guys are. But yeah, and I mean even Tristan. Like,
I'm gonna take a look.
Tristan's younger than me. Like these guys are.
Well, these guys are all younger than me. I'm older.
Yeah, you're an old ass motherfucker. So,
yeah.
But these guys all have like an incredible amount of time to go before they hit any kind of like a peak or.
They're
anything
not even
like
into
that.
their old man strength yet.
Yeah, they have exactly. Yeah, they're nowhere near a peak. But anyway, yeah. So with the heats, like
I lied. 28.
20. Yeah, I thought he was a little older than 22.
My bad.
He's
my 8s and 3s all look the same when you only got one eye.
But he's but he's still a young man in terms of the strongman sport.
You only come into your prime, I feel, in your early 30s.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys hit that peak in their early. Even if you're careful, you can hit all the way into your mids. You know
if
what
you're
I mean?
Mark Felix, you only hit your prime
when you're
at
49.
Yeah. You're setting world records in the 50s.
Absolutely. But it was like amazing to see, and it was just like you'd tune in, and eventually you'd be like, well, this has to stop at some point. Like this fucking roller coaster all the way up here for these Canadian guys has to stop at some point, but it just didn't. Like they just kept doing amazing things.
I couldn't believe it.
Tristan on the deadlift was incredible, tying for second place at a world competition that includes some of the best deadlifters in the world. Yeah, West setting a world record. 3 Canadians finishing in the top 6. Yeah, that's fucking bonkers, man. Like that's just and then when you think about too that there's so many other guys who are waiting in the wings. A Jeffers, a Joey Lavalley. Yep. Gabriel was hurt. Like these are guys. Simone Pratt, he's Canada's strongest man.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. These are there's so many guys.
Is that a guy who deserved to be there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would think so. Yeah. There's so many guys who are ready from Canada, and it's getting to the point where it's like, well, how many Canadians do you want to invite?
Well, and you have a guy like Max Boudreau. He had a rough year.
Max,
you got a rough year of injuries. I think that's what kind of got him out of it, because 2 years ago he placed 3rd.
For sure. Max is a guy where he can show up at any year and do serious damage to that competition. He gets it on my head because he's just been hurt. But
he had some injuries. Yep.
Yeah, but you want to talk about a guy who is a perennial favorite to be to just crush at any competition.
Who's still young,
Max, and who's still a young guy too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And these guys are it's really going to get to the point where it's going to be, how many Canadians do you want to invite? Yeah. Because you could have, so if it's 30 guys in the heats, if you want to have 10 or 12, that's no problem. We can give you half of your roster from Canada. That's no problem.
I'm thinking they need to refine, which there's been a lot of criticism online about that, refining their invitation process.
I think so too.
Or their qualification process. It shouldn't even be invitation anymore. It should be.
I think qualification would be better. Yeah.
Here are the 12 or 24 qualifiers.
Right.
We'll take how many? They had 5 heats.
Yeah.
So 25 guys. So here we're gonna do 12.
It was 30. However, it works out. There was
30 guys.
30 guys. Yeah.
So we're gonna do 14 qualifiers, and the podium flasher gets automatic invites type thing, right? You know, like if you look at something like that, top 2 from every comp qualifies. So I know it's wild as shit. It's unstable as my life. That's what it should be. So you have 14 opportunities to travel around the world and hit these comps. Top 2 qualify.
Right.
Same thing we do it kind of like Strongman Corp. If the same 2 guys who want to show up to another show, it's the next 2 qualify. Mm-hmm. So they don't take up spots. And I think that gives everybody a fair opportunity. Yeah. You put on 5 or 6 comps between Canada or Canada, US. Couple comps out in Iceland, Scotland, Europe. You have to hit all the places. One in Australia. Like, try to expand so we actually get a fair representation of every country and who the strongest guys in the world are.
But here's the thing, though, is that with that being said, is that if the guy from Singapore who wins Singapore Strongest Man is stronger than if he's stronger than the second place guy who wins Canada's Strongest Man, that's great. But if the top 10 Canadian guys or the top 10 American guys, or if all 30 guys come from fucking Mongolia, I don't care. I want to see where the strong. It's obviously it would be really nice to see an opportunity to have like, oh, here's an Icelandic guy, here's a Finnish guy, here's an African guy, here's a Australian guy. That would be awesome. We would love to see that.
That's
kind
the
of
Olympics
thing.
are for.
Right, and that's the thing is that, but this is a representation of who the strongest people are. So if it's 10 Canadians and 10 UK people and 10 Americans, so be it. That's the way it's going to be, and that doesn't bother me because I want to see the strongest people, but. When we're talking about Isaac Mays made a post that I thought was actually really,
I like that. Yeah.
It was well worded and it made sense. Where there was, if you count the fake nationality ones like the Italy and Mexico when they were actually Americans, there was 10 Americans who were invited to World's Strongest Man. There was 5 UK people, and there was 3 Canadians. 2 Americans made the finals. 2 out of 10. That's a fucking horrible percentage of that. 2 out of 5. UK people made the finals, and 3 out of 3 Canadians did. Yeah. Now it can almost be easy to make that sort of like diminutive of the 3 Canadians because those 3 Canadians are amazing. Yeah. They are amazing competitors. But there are several other competitors who are with them or just behind them in terms of a lot of their competitions. If you look at Eastern Canada's Strongest Man last year, Joey Lavalley won that. Yeah. These guys do They trade wins back and forth all the time in these competitions. The Rayum twins, both of them. We said Gabe earlier, but Fred is also a fucking force.
Yeah.
Where he had an amazing season last season on the circuit. There's these guys who are ready for that competition where if they're ready to do it, and I know that they're not, they could put a ton of Canadian guys.
Well, and I'm wondering, like, not to criticize Worlds because they're on another level as my little shows I promote. And they've obviously got the processes figured out for a reason, but it's guys like Fred and Gabriel and Simone Pratt and all these guys, in terms of there's only one competition in your Worlds. You've got this big of a window in your lifetime to make it. So, like, this year, Simone didn't make it. Jeffers, he posted he was actually an alternate. These guys didn't make it. And if they don't get that chance the next 2 to 3 years, that could be it.
Right. For sure.
That could be it. When if you look at what they could do, a guy like Tristan who just so happened to get that chance. And let's face it, that was a long shot that he was getting that chance this year.
Yeah, I think you would agree with that.
And how many other guys out there like Tristan could have placed in the top 10 that just never got the opportunity?
Sure. Yep.
And you'll get that in any sport. People get overlooked, and that's just the way it goes.
Right.
But there's got to be a way to do these qualifiers to try to eliminate that and just get the top 20 or the top 30 from that year. Even, they have 6 heats. Why not run the top 40 guys?
Well, that's the thing too, is that it kind of makes it really interesting when you put in the context of you don't qualify for World's Strongest Man, you're invited to World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And that makes it very different where the numbers don't really matter at that point anymore.
Yeah.
When even if you look at OSG, Nicholas Camby finished behind Jeffers.
Yeah, and got the invite.
Right. And he didn't do particularly well at Europe's either.
Yeah,
and he was invited before guys who beat him
and he was
Europe.
at the Arnold's.
Or
did we just see him there?
Camby?
Did he not compete at the Arnold's?
I don't think he did.
When we were there, he was there. Maybe he was just working the booth with half
I
Thor.
don't think he competed though. But it was, but.
And Nicholas Cammy's done great things, 105.
And that's the thing is I don't mean it's very easy to take this and make it sound like I have an issue with the athlete or the competitor. Yeah. You would be insane to say no.
Yeah.
If you get offered an opportunity to compete at World's Strongest Man, everybody should say yes.
Yeah.
But what I mean though is that it makes it very unclear as to what there
were guys there who. That sounds so bad coming from me, but who had no business being there.
No, I agree.
In the qualifying heat.
Yeah, and here's the thing is that there's guys who ended up kind of showing something. Like, say, Eddie Williams is a guy, when they announced him, I was like, why? Like, he just doesn't have the qualifications that some of these guys have. And, Max wasn't hurt yet, and he hadn't gotten invited.
Yeah.
So when I see, like, Eddie Williams get invited before him, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Now, Eddie Williams ended up having a fantastic heat, and he did really, really well. And I think that he has shown that he does deserve to be on that competitive field. But is that the way we should be finding out?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, I think that these guys, like, he's been to Giants Live. He hangs. He doesn't necessarily put on a ton of competition for the guys who are there. Let's say like a Paul Dwyer, kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Where this is nothing against those guys personally or as competitors. They're very, very strong and they're very, very good at like a certain level of competition.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about World's Strongest Man, Paul Dwyer or the South American guy that they invited a couple years ago or whatever, like, they just don't hang on that level.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Even guys like Ron Gokeen. He plays right behind Tristan at Magnus.
Sure.
He won the Magnus year before. But yet didn't get. And there's so many people that would be butthurt that didn't get an invite. And, it's none of our business, I guess, who gets it. But I just wish there was a better refined process of it.
And that's the thing is that, but if they did something where it's like, okay, we're going to have this means of like, we have 10 competitions throughout the year.
Yeah. Or
whatever. That might be a lot, but like whatever it is, and then the top 3 of each one gets a thing or whatever the hell it might be, then at least that's like a hard line. Like, this is how you compete and this is how you get there. Because I would even say like Wes Derwinski, another guy who very clearly showed that he belonged there. Don't get me wrong. When he podiumed at OSG, it was supposed to be that gets you a Giants Live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of a sudden, the first 5 guys or whatever get invited from OSG to Worlds, and it's just making it very unclear as to what the path is and what and that's the thing is that we want as fans, we just all want to understand it, and we just all want to be able to make it easy to follow and very, very clear.
And as a competitor, that you have a clear path.
Absolutely.
Like guys who are at this level and your level being pro and above. It's like me in business when I've gotten to real estate and stuff. I set a plan. I'm going to buy X many houses, and or even when I make a program. Here's the goal. We're going to work backwards till today, and put these benchmarks every week. So I have to hit. So I know I'm getting there. Same with a guy like Jeffers or Tristan. If they know the clear path, this comp will get me there. Mm-hmm. I need to hit these 3 comps to get to that comp. And then throw in 1 or 2 in case you don't podium the way you want to. Yeah. They can set those goals up when you're just randomly doing shit.
Right.
And then you take even. Who did Europe's? Luke Stoltman just won Europe's 2 weeks before Worlds. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure that fatigue affects some things, but it's if they had a clear pathway, it would make for a better showing and less injuries.
That's the thing. I think that's something too. I'm waiting for a guy to take some furniture away from me. I think there is something to be said for guys who could compete, but do promoters want that? Do promoters want guys competing less? Do they maybe they like having a little bit of ambiguity as to like, oh, maybe this competition gets you the world's strongest man. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does.
We're also in an age where popularity on social media gets you invites.
Well, that goes a long way too. And I would look at, say, somebody like Paul Dwyer or Nicholas Camby or whatever, where it's like, I think that being handsome in the case of Nicholas Camby and being funny in the case of Paul Dwyer, pushed further than some of the guys who've beaten them in competition.
In a world where money controls everything,
right?
They want those guys because they're going to bring. Views. Yeah. They're going to bring. It's like as much you can hate on Jake Paul, the money he's brought to boxing for a whole demographic of kids who never watched.
Right.
Do I hate it? Yeah, because I like the art of boxing.
Right.
But there's a thing to that in a promotional sense.
Well, of course there is, and that's the thing too. Is that like, people will always they'll think that they're very big brain by being like, well, it's a TV show first and a competition second. Well, then why do we give a fuck?
That's why I put David Nolay on the mic at MC instead of me.
Right. Exactly, because you want that money.
Prettier.
You want the handsome guy. But like it's. I understand that. I get that it's a TV show. I get that there's like whatever, but it's like, we still have to hold it to some sort of a standard. Otherwise, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
So Tom Stoltman is the 3-time champion of a TV show. Then, if that's the logic.
Yeah.
And then why should we care?
Yeah.
No, he's the world's strongest man, and it matters.
And that guy's, I don't know. I like him.
And to speak on the winner, Tom Stoltman. What a class act!
He's huge, man.
He's physically, yeah.
Did you see a picture?
Yeah,
I took a picture. I took a picture with him at Arnold's,
and he just seems to be.
So did Pat in his light bright.
I did see Pat with the light bright. Hold on, give me 1 second. Pause for 1 second.
Yeah, well, I'll just continue on. So, it's some context here.
Tell the light bright story.
Yeah, so we're at the Arnold's, and me and Pat and Gord and the wives were out, whatever, shopping in some random mall in Columbus. I don't know where the hell we ended up or why we ended up there, but we just were trying to figure out something to do. And I'm walking down the aisle, and this dude's coming down the escalator, and this dude's a monster. And I look up, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Tom Stoltman. And I'm generally not a guy who gets, like, whatever, gun shy or kind of like that, oh, they're a famous person or all that other bullshit. So I turn around, I look at Gord, who is a big avid, like Gord's a big avid fan of sport. And he's kind of more like Tyler. He researches everything, knows a lot of the stats, knows a lot of his guys, and he follows it pretty in. He's like, Devin, that's Tom. We gotta go after him. I'm like, what the shit? So we chase Tom down, or just walk at a gingerly rate, and catch up to him outside. And we had just finished shopping. We found a store in the mall that had all the old nostalgic games, like some of the old board games you wouldn't find anymore. And light brights. So Pat, not seeing a light bright for a couple of years since he was a toddler, so a couple of years ago, a couple inches ago, buys a light bright for his kids. And they put it in this bag that is completely see-through. We don't realize this. We go outside, we meet Tom, chat a bit. Hey, can we get a picture? He's an absolutely super nice guy. Puts us underneath his wing, literally, because the guy's a monster. And Pat's 5'7", I'm going to say. Tom Stoltman's, 6'8", 6'9", and puts his arm around Pat, and we take a picture together, and you can see clearly through the bag this light bright. So you got a guy, Pat, who's competing at the Arnold's. It's his big weekend, and looks like Tom Stoltman's illegitimate son holding this little light bright.
Pat sure is little, hey?
It looks so damn funny.
Pat with a light bright, is it? We were like,
he was so mad. He's like, no one tells me what stupid light brights go through my bag. Looks like Tom Stoltman's kid. Maybe we'll post that picture of Tom Stoltman.
I think that's a good idea.
That'll be our tag for this week.
But like a guy like Tom Stoltman is just a guy where he not to completely derail what you're talking about there, but
I'll finish the story.
He's a guy where you want him to be your champion.
Yeah,
he's a guy where I can't think of anybody who's more like just an honest, real person. Yeah. I think who unless it's all showbiz, which I don't think, it doesn't seem like it is.
No,
just to represent the sport. He's very open about his autism that I don't want to say he deals with or suffers from or anything, because it seems like he very much actually uses it as a tool that he's actually embraced it to a certain degree, I think.
Well, it's a superpower if you can control it.
That's what he calls it, right? That's what he calls it. He calls it a superpower. And I think that like I can't think of many sports, maybe powerlifting or Olympic lifting, because they're even more sort of like focused or hyper focused. But like, you want to talk about sports where you can really benefit from having that level of like kind of a hyper focus or obsession or whatever and stuff. Like, it's really, and it's, you know, it's a singular, there's no team aspect to it. It's just you alone out there doing what you have to do. And it's really a beautiful thing. He's just like a guy where it's just he's,
what do you have? 4.5 point lead, 5 point lead.
It was he had a pretty handy win, and then he was like 20 points ahead of third place or something like that. Like, he was
43, and if I'm correct,
I think he was 50. He was 53.
53, and then it was 48.5.
Yeah, and then I think that Singleton, who got third, was like 30 something.
31.
So it was they really pulled away. It was really a 2-horse race there.
Yeah.
But you hear him talk afterwards, and he's just him and his brother Luke, and they're both just like they just seem like really good people that you want to see these kind of good things happen to.
I agree with what Magnus was saying today in his Q&A. Is it'd be nice. You got Tom, who's a 3-time world strongman. Luke, who's been top 10 for many years. Why doesn't Worlds travel to Scotland? Do it there.
I would love to see that.
Show some justice.
I would love to see.
And then come to Canada.
Yeah,
I'll gladly put on the show with them.
Yeah, we'll put on CSM. I would love that, or WSM.
Yeah,
I think that I think there's something to that. Like, it used to be. I mean, it used to always be like hot locations, but they would travel all around to these different like hot locations. But it really had like a more international flavor to it. And they would go to Africa, and they would go to China, and they would go to the Bahamas, and they would go to Barbados or wherever it might be, and they would do all these cool shows. And I'm sure it's nice to have like a home base, kind of like the way that they're doing it right now. Where it's been Myrtle Beach the last couple of years, I think. But it's probably nice to have sort of like your infrastructure set up there. Yes. But I do miss that aspect of when you're watching the old World's Strongest Man, and they're like in Africa, and it's just like all Africans who are watching it all around it, or they're in China, and it's just all Chinese people, and there's something special to these people are even more in awe of what they're seeing, because these people are fucking giants to them, and they've never seen the sport before, even like,
especially, but no offense, a bunch of Chinese dudes.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's just like they see like Tom Stoltman walking around, they're just gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that the athletes prefer having it in America.
Just a bunch of pats with sombreros.
But I think that it would be cool to see a little bit of change in that. We also saw. I lost train of thought there for a second. But yeah, the World's Strongest Man was just it was amazing. Like, we were watching. We had the Big Laws feed on, where he's kind of like has people like live.
Oh yeah, yep.
And
how was that?
It was great. They do a good job of it. They make it as exciting as they can. It's like you're listening to like a radio broadcast or something, right? Yeah. But it was fun to keep up with. It was fun to pay attention to, and like every so often we would get little videos snuck to us from people who were in the crowd and stuff, and the different chats that I was in. So I saw Wes's throw pretty much right after he did it, and like, you hear he got the keg to, I think it was 7.25 meters.
No, 7.76.
7.76.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
it's
hear
just
that.
Shy of 25.
Okay, so I saw the one before that, so it might have been 7.5.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, that's incredible. But then you see the video of it, and you just see him walk up to it, and it's just like, that thing is a mile high. Like, it just looks like it's
almost 25 feet.
It looks completely impossible. Yep. And then he just does it, and you're just like, wow. And it's
and then just does one of these.
Yeah, dusts his hands off and walks away, like just like a real badass motherfucker would.
Yeah.
That was a really. I just saw the video, and I was just like, there's no fucking.
2 different techniques on that event.
The side hold.
And both got it over.
Both seemed to work just fine.
I was kind of curious though.
Yeah. I watched. I was watching it, and I knew that he got it. And I was like, "There's no way he's getting this. Like, it's too high. Like, there's just no way." And it was amazing. It was just amazing.
It was a gimme.
Yeah.
Bad call from the judge.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so now we get to see, you want to talk about Canada's Strongest Man, like in the past being competitive. Now we're gonna have
some chips on the shoulder rolling into this one.
Sure, we have Wes Owinski. We have Tristan Ho. We have. I'm hoping that Gabe. I know that Gabe had an issue with his hand. That I'm hoping that is. It seems like it's doing better now. So hopefully he'll be competing there. So we have 3 World's Strongest Man competitors right there. I don't know where Max will be at that point in the season. Fingers crossed he's feeling better. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But we could have 4 if Hooper gets off his ass and does Canada's, which I mean he won't. But like, let's say he did, we could have like 5 World's Strongest Man competitors in one competition in Canada.
Well, I seen Jeff had a picture with him. I don't know if that was the first.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that before either, actually.
So is that like sending an olive branch, say, hey, we need to...
I mean, Jeff's always been like, hey, like I wish you would be more involved with the scene and stuff.
It would be nice. Why not do a CSM?
Yeah. I think that it would be, we've talked about him before.
That would be a disgusting show.
That would be insane. And
Cooper, Simone.
Yeah, and then that's the thing is that I name all these WSM guys, but Simone, Canada's strongest man, would be there. Fred, who is right behind his brother, maybe not even behind anymore in terms of his strength and abilities. Yeah. Like you're talking about a top 7 to 8 guys
I will be within points.
That are world class competitors, and it's just like holy shit. And I don't know that necessarily people I really hope that, say, like Tristan being a Western guy and doing so well, I really hope that he can kind of get people to be like, oh, what's this thing that they're doing over there? You know what I mean? Because it's just like it's so good right now. Yeah. In Canada, the strongman is so fucking good, and I would really hate for in 5 years or 6 years when this kind of crop of guys has started to settle down a little bit, people are just like. More people are just getting involved then and been like, oh, if I'd known about this 5 years ago, I would have been all over that shit. Because it's hard to find a comparison to it right now. But it's just like it's an amazing time to be a strongman fan, competitor, just whatever it might be. In
Western
in
Canada for us is exciting.
Man,
we've never had you had the guys like Brad and Scott who were dominant.
Right,
Scott was dominant, but you didn't have the wide spread between BC, Alberta. You didn't have that like you're having now, right? You got Jeffers and Saskatchewan. You got Tristan, Colton, a couple guys coming out of Alberta. I don't know any big dudes out of BC right now.
Sean
Hayes. Sorry, he's out. Yeah,
and he's coming off of an injury right now, so he's kind of having a year where he's also a guy where I think that he'll be showing up more ready than some people give him credit for. Like I think that he'll be.
Oh, he's working in silence.
I think he might be working in silence. Yep, I think he might be.
Seems to be.
I think that he might be training in silence and putting together a package that you won't believe when you see it in person.
Yeah.
That's
tell the wife the same thing tonight.
Yeah, it's trading in silence.
Just putting together a package for you that you quite literally won't see coming.
Yeah, no, it's and then that's you talk, and it has like a trickle down effect too, where like Westerns, I've said this before, is that like if you're gonna be good at Westerns now, you need to be one of the better guys in the world. Like if you plan on podiuming at Westerns, you need to be one of the better strongman competitors on earth right now.
Which is just mind-blowing.
It's like insane. And like you said, Scott's a guy where and he's earned every bit of his legend status that he has in strongman. Yeah. He won an event in World's Strongest Man, and that was like the stuff of legends. Yeah. He won one of the events in his heat.
There were some rumblings last year about him coming back to the U105.
I'd heard something about that, yeah.
And I was actually really hoping.
I heard a few of the old dogs were talking about coming back, like Halliday and stuff.
Halliday, yeah. And I see, good for Halliday because Metal's a great place. It's a basement gym, but and it's dingy, and I loved it. Yeah. He let me train there. I think the guy gave me a key to it. Still my gym bag. He's like, anytime you come through, Johnny, you just rolling in.
Amazing.
And you've got some of the best athletes in the world.
Imagine Scott coming at 105 versus Isaac Mays at 105.
Oh, it would be. It'd
be amazing.
It'd be good to watch.
Yeah, it'd be very fun.
But I mean, I've seen how just in the last 2-3 weeks has really upped his.
He's like deadlifting again and stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, he's upped his advertising for his gym.
Yeah,
train where the pros train.
Yeah.
Now Strongman's finally gaining the traction that all those guys tried getting it to 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. The work they put in 10 to 15 years was finally coming to fruition.
Yep.
In some of the new crop. Yep. And I'm like, you're damn right you need to capitalize on it.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is that they have guys, they have Mays, they have Mel, they have Jeffers. Yeah. They just have these people, and that's like they're very top guys, but they have a whole bunch of competitors all through their rankings that are going to put that gym on the map if they continue on the path that they're going on. Yeah. I know that Isaac and Sam Risling are competing at that Pro Strongman League. Like the
PSL?
Yeah, the weight class thing this weekend. Like the equivalent. It used to be Clash. Now it's...
Yeah, because a lot of guys actually skip the Arnolds to do the PSL show. Yeah.
So it'll be really exciting. That's like when I was at Barbarian for the competition last weekend or the 2 weekends ago there, Isaac was hitting some heavy squats, like 600 plus onto the thing for reps, getting ready for that competition. So it's a big, heavy show, obviously, and both those guys are outstanding competitors.
I remember those days just rolling in 600-pound squat.
Rolling in 600-pound plus for reps and then just getting out of there. Yeah. Go and get something to eat afterwards.
Just the days.
What was the heavy squat you ever hit?
550 actual squat.
Yeah.
I did box squats last night, second week. But I had 2. I've strung together now. The pec injury kind of just derailed me mentally a bit.
Sure.
Last 2 weeks I've strung together some really good workouts finally. Like intense, kept actually hitting it the way. Like I used to train 6-7 years old. Like, oh, this is really good. So I hit speed squats, box squats last. I realized my hips still bother me in my back, but I can handle box squats a lot better than I can handle just a conventional squat.
I like a box squat too. Actually,
so I was doing box squats below parallel with bands last week.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay. So I put together a solid leg workout. So now we're week 2. So why not hit something heavy?
Absolutely.
So I roll in there yesterday. Brian's training. He's doing deadlifts, and I'm just trying to match him on pound for pound squat deadlift. I didn't quite keep up, but I had just above parallel box squats, and I actually worked up to 555 for triple.
Nice.
And I'm like, this first time I had over 500 pounds on my back probably in 5 years.
Nice. I like a box squat because it's very technical too. So you can't kind of just like dummy up. Like you have to be paying attention to what you're doing and stuff. And
my Achilles just really bothered me, so I was like, I can't.
Oh, so
I don't know if I can even move a regular squat right now. So I really sat back, wide stance, and I was just, I'm like, oh, I can still box squat 550 any day of the week. This is kind of cool.
Tremendous. That's good to hear.
I'm hurting today.
Are you feeling it?
Holy hell, I can hardly walk.
We had a little bit of like a throwback session actually, where a few of us got together and we just took we took apart our yoke because it doesn't fit out the door. We took it apart and walked it over to the parking lot across the street there. Yeah, and it was really fun actually. It was
kind of brings back memories.
It did, honestly. Yeah, it's just like all the shit out there, and everyone carried the weights, everyone carried it back, and it was really nice actually. And it was
nostalgic.
A little bit nostalgic, and also being like, thank fucking God I'm not doing this by myself right now, because that would have been a fucking nightmare. And
dude, that's what was when I trained at St. Pierre Gym years ago. I would have to load my truck box up. So they wouldn't let me put my implants in the gym.
Right.
I would load up my farmers, everything on my truck box, roll to work in the city, work all day, roll in, do my workout in the gym because my coach had me, and then I would go into the parking lot and down the side street behind the gym.
Wow.
And that's where I would do my events with my steel piles, because I made my own implements out of steel piles.
Right.
Out of a scrap pile my uncle had, because I just couldn't afford anything. He's like, here, grab my welders, make whatever you want. And I just made my own shit.
Nice.
I didn't even drill holes. I just took cutting cords and cut these holes of melted steel, just stuck bolts through. Like, it was whatever. Hey, man, it cost me cents on the dollar, and I was able to train for years.
Yeah. It's always that funny feeling with you when you do like event stuff for strongman shit, where we take apart the yoke, because we have that big Sorinex one that's very, very cumbersome and whatever, so it doesn't fit out any of our doors. So we take it apart, we walk it across the street, we grab all the plates, we walk those across the streets, we measure the distance that we need, we do all of our runs, we take everything apart, we bring it back in, we bring the plates back in. It's like, okay, now it's time for the next thing that we have to do. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, we're not done. Like that was.
They call that GPP.
Yeah, that was 90 goddamn minutes. And that was the first thing that we had to do.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. And it really reminds you though, like, why the group is so important for that.
Because, it is. Yep.
Because I can tell you right now that I don't have the strength of mind to be like, well, gotta do it by myself.
It's not what it once was.
I'd be like, fuck that shit. I'm not doing this by myself. There's no fucking.
There was once a time you would do that.
I would, absolutely.
And
I did. Yeah. There's plenty of times at say like Midtown or whatever, even back in McDowell's, where I would haul out equipment by myself.
Yep.
Because if I got there late or if it was just the next day or whatever.
Yep.
And I would just have to do it all myself out there. It sucked, but it was just the way it was. Can you imagine? Can you imagine you doing that now?
No, I can't. I'm bitter when I got to hold the rope outside for armors pulls. Yeah.
That's good.
I've had the harness in my truck since we did semi pulls and got the stuff and taken it out.
Well, fuck yeah.
That's the level of I don't give a shit anymore I'm at.
That's pretty much where I'm at too these days. I got a lot of stuff in my truck that's been there from I think the last competitive season actually.
Yeah, it's in my back seat. My workers like every morning he has to move it over to sit in my truck. You gotta get rid of this thing? Nah.
Yeah, soon enough.
Yeah. We'll need it to comp midsummer.
Yeah, we'll need it at some point.
It'll be in my truck.
I'll be happy that it's here.
Yeah.
Speaking of comps that we got we're inching ever closer to Tolstoy here, which is going to be a great competition. Yeah, I think
3 weeks.
We're inside of 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Which is and I still have people hitting me up asking me if they can compete in it.
Serious?
Yeah. And as much as we love you guys, we set that deadline. We got to stick with it because we have so many people competing in this competition, and we just don't want to be there.
We let 2 in the morning after, but they didn't get shirts because the order was in already.
We set the like when we set the I guess maybe we could probably explain this. When we set the deadline for why for a competition, the reason why we do that is that we just need time to get all of our shit in order.
Yeah.
So we have an idea of how many of like the medals that we have to order, because let's say we have one teen girl, so we need one teen medal. So now if we keep the thing open, and then all of a sudden the day after registration closes, we get one more person who's like, oh, I want to be another teen girl doing it.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, we just put in the order for that one medal, and now we got to change the order, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. And then more than that is the shirts. So like once the shirts go in, it's kind of a pain in the ass to stop that train once it's rolling. And that's why we do it. We don't do it just to be arbitrarily just like wielding power over you guys. Like we have to do it. So Tolstoy is closed. We have like 45 competitive. I'm sorry. We have like 45 competitors for that one. It's going to be still going to be a nice tight competition. I'm still very I'm still very convinced that we are going to run it faster than most competitions that you can go to.
Yeah.
And I want to put this out there. I want to say this to anybody who is putting on their own competitions, literally anywhere in the world. If you are finding that your competitions are kind of starting to drag a little bit, or you're finding that at the end of your competitions, like the crowd's kind of like excited to go, you know what I mean? Like that feeling that people sometimes get. And you're just like, what am I doing? Like, how could I possibly make this I feel like I'm running things as quickly as I can or whatever. Please feel free to reach out to me or especially Devin, or maybe especially me, and I'll put you in contact with Devin because Devin's a busy guy. But if anybody would like just information on just like we regularly run competitions, and I should say too, it's not at the expense of the athletes. The athletes aren't dying and then we're kicking them out there for the next event or anything. Yeah. But we do a pretty good job of running events quickly enough that we have anywhere between 30 and 40 competitors, and we run our competitions in under 4 hours.
Yeah, and that's usually with the award ceremony.
Yeah, and that's everything. That's from. So if we're saying from when the first whistle goes at say 11 o'clock, we're out of there at 3.
Yeah,
and that's with the award stuff and everything too. Yeah. So if anybody would just like just tips or tricks,
just the systems that we use.
Yeah, we have a good infrastructure in place. Also, it helps that we said 1,000 times we have a great set of volunteers and stuff that really hustle and make. And those, that's the first tip that I can give anybody is make sure that your volunteers are moving.
They understand the sense of urgency.
The sense of urgency.
And you know what? I'm not saying I'm proud, but I've had volunteers quit.
Yeah.
During the show, I had some leave.
Yeah.
Last year I had 2 of them leave at a show. Because me or someone that one of our volunteers was being a little
sharp.
But they were taking a page out of my book.
Yeah.
But people.
But the thing is that we have an expectation of how these shows are ran, and we expect that because the people who attend and compete in our competitions expect that, and it's really important to us that we meet that expectation for them.
And I've always said it's not about for me the experience is all about the athlete. The athlete should leave that show thinking this was flawless. They cared so much about us. Everything's perfect. Not knowing that we were scrambling in the back. We screwed a bunch of things up. People are getting... I've never yelled. I've never physically yelled at somebody. I've been stern with them, like, you got to get your ass moving.
Yeah.
But I've always told her, I have an athlete meeting for every show and tell them, listen, the next 3 or 4 hours as a volunteer, the goal is to make the athlete feel special. It's just a regional show. It's just a show that they paid $60 to and they get a T-shirt and something to make sure. But let's make them feel like an athlete.
It's important though, because they trained hard for this, and whatever level you are competing at, that's important.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So if your aspirations are to one day compete at Canada's Strongest Man or World's Strongest Man or whatever, I can understand you kind of being like, well, those small time regional shows. But for some people, this is as far as they want to go or they're going to go or whatever, and that's valid and that's important too.
Well, I do that every time Gord comes out to train. I make sure everybody in the gym knows, Janaea, Brian, let's make Gord feel special.
Absolutely.
Like, you get it, little buddy. And then just give him the old pat on the back and this is your day.
Absolutely. Whether it's a training session. Maybe that's as far as they'll go. It's just a good difficult training session.
Yeah.
And you just tell Gord, hey buddy.
I just pat him on his little hat, give him his crayons, and you get out there and you lift that yoke.
No, but it's
should be pissed.
But it is important though, because it's just like we're very proud of the work that we put in and that our crew puts in, and we got something cool for some of our crew people at the Tolstoy competition. I'm excited to give you guys that. We are still accepting people for Manitoba Strongest Man, but as of today, you have 11 days left to register.
Yep.
When this come out tomorrow or the day after tomorrow?
It's come out Thursday, so you'll have 9 days.
9 days. 9 days to register. Again, we're doing that for a reason.
Yeah.
Not seeing the registration that we saw last year, but honestly, I will say too that we're seeing a lot of like that bottom half cut off. I think.
Yeah, and the reason we're not seeing it is because we announced heavy weights.
Yeah, it's a heavy show. And there's going to be, and we're going to make these, like, this is going to be the one show that stands out in the year as being like, it's not going to be appropriate for everybody.
No.
I think that anybody who wants to can jump in on it.
Yeah.
And I encourage that. But I think that some people will look at that and just be like, that's just not for me.
Yeah, going and taking 5 zeros isn't fun.
Yeah. And then, but I will say too, in your defense, because you picked the events, that you've picked 5 events that, besides the bench press, you can't really zero.
No.
It's very unlikely that somebody would zero, because you're gonna get whatever you get in the max.
You're gonna get
dumbbell.
the first stone.
You're going to get the first stone.
Yeah.
You can walk a fucking foot if you have to with the yoke.
Yeah, you'll be able to lock out a yoke and tip it forward.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There you go. Yeah. The arm over arm. You're going to get. I mean, maybe some people don't, but I think the vast majority of people get it started at least and get a little.
Well, we're working on it, and we're working on a couple different trucks right now, trying to see what to do.
Maybe
because of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So I'm running my truck. Brian from Rumble's already lining me up a semi if I need. A 1 ton. I think we got 3 or 4 different trucks we're going to roll in with. The night before, again, I will go test it.
We'll do some testing.
Yeah. And I'll get some girls that are test too that aren't competing.
Okay.
If any of the girls aren't who aren't set up, I'll go through them all. If I have one that's not, I'll get them to come out and test.
Good
idea. Or I'll take a guy that's similar strength to some of the bigger girls.
Yeah.
One of my novice guys or something.
Swint maybe or something.
Yeah, Swint. Yeah. It takes it 0 and all the girls finish.
No, guys, it's way too heavy.
He's never had that in his life. All the girls finish.
Speaking of Manitoba Strongest Man 2, we are looking for a few more volunteers.
Yes.
So if anybody who's not competing on that show would like to lend a hand, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And if you're somebody who's not volunteered before, this is a great time to do it, man. Like, we're not like the MPA where we're going to force anybody to volunteer.
No.
We're not going to do that.
No.
But we do.
If you want to compete at provincials, you need to volunteer twice this year.
Yeah. Luckily, we have enough goodwill from people that people just volunteer because they want to volunteer. But we do encourage people who hadn't done it because I think it's really important, not just because we want the help.
Yeah.
It's really important for people to see all sides of a competition.
Yeah.
It's really important for you to understand as a competitor the hard work that goes into it from the loaders, arguably the harder work that goes into it from the loaders, the scorekeepers, whatever it might be. It's really important that you see kind of all sides of it so you can understand how challenging these shows are for the guys who are just showing up there because they just love the sport and they just want to help out. So if anybody's interested for that one or for Vita, we could use hands on that one too, especially because
a couple guys are gone.
A few of us are gone. Yeah, we have a couple of our more helpful guys are going to be gone to Westerns on that one, or competing in Vita.
Yeah.
So we'll need some hands on deck for that one. So if anybody's interested, please just message me, Devin, Training Grounds, Iron Age, Strong Manitoba. Yeah, there's all kinds of options to get a hold of us. So just do one of those.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to hit before we call it a day here?
Got to hit up our sponsor.
Oh, we do hit it. God damn it. I meant to do it at the beginning again.
Yeah, I know we suck at that. Yeah. Jeremy understands. You know why he understands? Because he's number 1.
Yeah, because he's an understanding gentleman.
He's understanding.
That carries over into his realty work where he'll be understanding of being your first time buying a home.
Yeah.
He'll be understanding of it being your first time selling a home. You're not gonna know how these things work, but luckily Jeremy does.
Dude, that guy hit his weight loss goal 2 months ahead of time.
Really?
So I'm still up.
Hey, congratulations, Jeremy.
Yeah,
That's
still
tremendous.
up 14 pounds.
You started. You're 14 pounds heavier than what you started.
I did gain a couple pounds. It's not going good for me, and I'm.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see Devin run a 5K marathon.
I will do a 20-day fast, and I will claim it's religious, but it's just to win a bet. But he hit his goal. That guy, yeah.
Tremendous. Congratulations to Jeremy Weens on that one. Was there?
Yeah.
There was a third person in that one too.
Yeah, my buddy Kendall.
How's Kendall doing?
Not good. So he has to gain weight and do chin-ups.
Toe, right?
Yeah, he's working.
How's the toe feeling?
Dude, it's brutal.
Yeah.
He's just popping T3s every day, and he's at our house in Dominion City right now. We got a rental that we're renovating, and he's slinging drywall and building walls and putting windows in, and his toe's shattered. It's completely shattered.
If you missed last episode, go to you can see it as the thumbnail,
the toenail,
the toenail of the last episode of his smashed foot from dropping a 45-pound plate on it, which is fucking brutal.
Yeah, so he's in our group. So Jeremy, cause we have this little bet going. So Jeremy had listed this property a couple weeks ago, and he sends me the link. And this property's been in the market for like a year privately. They've done everything, and this property won't sell. I'm not going to say where it is. But he says, like, I got this listing. I'm like, holy shit, Jeremy. Like, I don't want to be mean, but you're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
It's not going to sell. I know the property well. Like, it's a bad, but it's not going to sell.
Right.
And this guy's been trying to sell for I think it might be 2 years already. If not.
Really?
Oh,
wow.
yeah, it's not moving. And he's like, well, I'm going to see if I can sell this thing. Oh, all right. We have our meeting every other week. Me, him, and Kendall, we have a little accountability group, and we go over our goal setting and, this and that, and how he's doing real estate. We just keep each other accountable. And he comes to me, he's like, you guys, I got an offer. And I'm like, there's no way you got an offer.
2 years.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way. He's like, I got an offer. And he texts every day, he sold the property. I'm like, all right, I'll give you credit because I believe in German. I'm like, you're not selling this property.
Was the house haunted?
No, it was a shop-style house in a location. The location was nice, but the style house it was, the price
what's
it was.
What's a shop-style house?
It was a shop with the living quarters in it.
Oh.
Yeah, and that really appeals to a very small demographic of people.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and Yeah, and he sold.
Sold
it blew my mind.
So there you go. If Jeremy Weens can even sell a shop style home, can you even fucking fathom what he can do with your regular ass home? Okay, so keep that in mind, please. Jeremy Weens Realtor.
Yes, Realty. We'll get it right one day. He keeps correcting me.
Jeremy Weens R word and not that R word.
Yeah. Follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, give him a
social
follow.
media. His car. Follow his car.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
So just to do a quick.
I'll drop his address in the hashtags.
Oh wait, we gotta do the Deadlift for Dreams.
Oh hell yeah! What do you
check in?
Do you know what we're at?
I haven't checked.
I nailed us a white light sponsor that came through this week.
Woohoo!
$2,500.
$2,500. Okay, so this number's gonna look pretty solid.
No, because that just goes to the corporate sponsorships. I don't know how they. If they
oh,
put
I
the
see.
totals.
Okay, so this is different.
I've been working on that. Actually, Case in St. Malo, Case Bank or Case Credit Union.
Yeah.
Stepped up as a corporate sponsor, $500 this week. I got them too.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
What were we at, like 9% last time?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I haven't even looked this week.
The Deadlift for Dreams number right now at 12% of the goal reach, so a pretty significant jump.
Holy smokes.
$7,601.48.
Damn right.
Amazing.
Damn right. Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who's donating to that.
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who's raising money. Everybody who's deadlifting. That's fantastic, man. And I say thank you on behalf of this is just the strength community because this is Devin's thing and this is not
Well,
mine,
this is Beakley's thing.
Beakley's thing that Devin is very involved
from the
in.
grave.
The ghost of Dave Beakley is still running this deadlift. That's how dedicated he is to it. But this is their thing, and I'm just like I gotta. But as somebody who's standing by on the sidelines watching people in the community that I'm proud to be a part of.
Yeah.
Raise this kind of money is just exceptional.
$65,000 is the goal, and I want to see it blowing.
Well, so right now
blowing out of the water.
We're 12% of the way there, and
like
we have
Schwint jumping out to finish his Ironman blowing out of the water. Just gone onto land.
So we have 122 days left, so plenty of time.
Yeah,
plenty of time, and everyone knows that we'll see like that. In the last 30 days is when we'll start to see some real punches in those numbers and stuff. So we're really excited
everybody
for that.
enter us to raise $10 a day for the next 122 days, and we surpass our goals.
Oh my God, yeah, it would be huge. Do we have any idea, or do you have any idea, like the number of if we reached that cap of lifters yet?
I think we were capped at 40 or 50. We weren't there yet.
They said 50 was the number.
Yeah, it was close.
Okay, so if you haven't signed up, especially if you're from Iron Age or Training Grounds and you want to do it, please get signed up because it's not gonna Don't think this is gonna be one of those things where we're gonna sneak you in the back door and you're gonna be able to deadlift. If you're not on the list, you're not gonna be on it.
Hey, we had that Rat's Nest Garage.
Oh yeah.
They reached out they commented on our YouTube page. I think it was.
Oh, did they?
It's just from what I understand. I think it's just two ladies training a garage together and just gave them a name.
Amazing.
And they're just ripping it up. Yeah, so shout out to them.
Shout out Rat's Nest Gym Garage then, or Garage Gym. That's tremendous.
And shout out our homeboy in New Brunswick who listened and was proud that we mentioned him.
Oh yes.
I appreciate the support.
Yeah, everybody who sends us a message and says like, hey, we listened to the podcast and whatever. Like it's easy for me and Devin to kind of feel like we're just like yelling at this wall that's behind the camera right now. So it's always nice when people just drop a line and just tell us that they're.
What did we say last week? Because I see we got pee slapped. By my client, by my Mara, because we had mentioned to OSG, like, this is the first time we've ever had Manitobas go to OSG.
Oh, shit.
I have literally coached Mara
shit.
for OSG.
Yes.
Like, she's my client. I prepped her for OSG. She's been there 3 times, and she's going again next year. We're taking a year off.
Sorry, Mara.
To build a better base again, like, just work out some deficiencies, and she had a bit of a stressful year. And I go and say last week, no one's been to OSG Manitoba.
Oh,
when I literally coached her and have prepped her for it and competed there.
Sorry, Mara, you're an amazing competitor. We didn't mean to do that.
It's my athlete and my lady. I apologize. She comments. I'm like, ooh,
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the kind of stuff that we need. Keep us honest. If we make any mistakes or we have any errors, which I'm sure we do it all the fucking time.
Well, the amount of shit I miss.
Put it in the comment section. Mention it on Instagram, whatever. But always do it with a smile on your face and a tune in your heart, because we don't want to hear bad stuff. We just want to hear good stuff.
So we're all about positive vibes and some heart bullshit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, if you're registered for Tolstoy, train hard, get ready for it. It's coming up soon.
Yep.
If you want to come check it out, we strongly encourage you to. Please do. It'll be a really fun time. Beer gardens, barbecue, all the amenities that Tolstoy Manitoba has to offer.
Oh, hell yeah.
We got Manitoba's Strongest Man and Woman coming up. If you're thinking about getting registered for that one, registration is closing very soon. If you're not thinking about registering for it, consider volunteering. If you're not really into the whole volunteering thing, just come watch it, man. It's going to be a great show.
I even heard that some of the local ladies are going to be wearing, like, capris with shaved legs.
Not in Morris.
No, Tolstoy.
Oh, wow. Holy smokes.
Just letting you guys know there might be some shaved ankles showing up.
They're getting a little crazy out there.
It's
in
looking to
Tolstoy.
be a good event for some of our single guys. Martin. But
if you're not competing or down to volunteer, please do come watch Manitoba's Strongest Man. I'll let you guys in on a little secret here. It really, really matters for our sponsorship how many people come and watch.
Yeah,
so
yes, it does.
So keep that in mind. That we have some people who are really investing in Manitoba Strongman with the sponsorships that are making it so that we can give away the cash prizes that we are. Without Stratton Agri, our amazing sponsor, thank you Stratton Agri.
Yep.
We literally could not give the money that we're giving to you guys. The
yep.
registration fees don't cover it. The other sponsorships wouldn't cover it.
Yep.
We need these sponsorships and we need these people. So at the risk of sounding a little desperate, come down, check out the show, have fun, have some beers, watch the truck pull afterwards.
Yeah.
There's a whole event around the strongman stuff. The strongman's just a very small part of the whole weekend. So come out, check it out. Morris is like 40 minutes out of the city. It'll be a great time.
Not even, yeah. And for the guys not knowing it, like we got listeners across the world actually, because we even had dudes tune in from the Philippines, everything.
Yeah.
We're becoming known as the Strongman podcast in Canada.
We are the Strongman podcast in Canada.
So to keep that, we got to keep our sponsors happy.
Yep.
We got a huge outreach.
So make sure you contact these people. Tell them, follow Stratton Agri on Instagram and tell them, hey,
yep.
Manitoba Strongman sent me here, and we love them and we love you.
Yep.
Following Manitoba's Strongest, we have Vita Strongest on Canada Day.
Yep.
July 1st. That'll be our second qualifier, our second of two qualifiers for SCC Nationals, Provincials, sorry.
Yep.
And I just talked to Blakely. He's trying to go to Nationals for the Masters division.
Is he?
Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Man, he'll make an impact
he could
there.
really do some damage there for that one.
Yep, that's awesome.
So we have that one. We have on August long, we have the Magnus Classic Qualifier, which
yep.
we're all very excited about. That's Devin's baby, along with you might have heard of him. His name is Magnus for Magnuson. They put on a little competition there that leads to another little competition that might lead to another little competition that's called World's Strongest Man. Maybe you've heard of that one at least.
Yeah.
And then following that one, we have August 10th. Manitoba's SCC Provincials.
Yep.
So we're going to be finding out who the strongest 80, 90, 105, 120, the Masters. We're going to be finding out Manitoba's strongest for all those separate divisions.
Yeah, all our women's division.
Yep.
56.
All the ladies. We're all very excited. Yep. 56, 64, 72, 80. No, 70. Fuck. I
73, 82.
And open.
Masters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're all very, very excited for that one to be back at. We've said 1,000 times, but like the mecca of Manitoba Strongman.
Yeah.
The Harvest Fest in Winkler, Manitoba. So you want to talk about World's Strongest Man? We've seen Dave Ostlund compete there. We've seen Kyle Rayner, Dom Leontis, Brad Provic. I wonder if Scott Cummins been there. Did he ever go there for those?
I want to say Westerns. He did.
I'll try to figure that out.
Yeah, Joel Dirks, who trains with Brian Shawn all the time.
Absolutely, some of the absolute biggest names in strongman at that time.
Grip strength guys,
there.
yeah, they've all competed there.
Yep, we're there. So you want to add your name to that list? You want to show them what's up? Make sure you get qualified at either Tolstoy or Vita, and then bang our line to get registered for provincials.
Bang it.
And then that's pretty much the season locally until we get down to to Deadlift for Dreams. Yep. For anybody, I'm going to put this out there too. For anybody who's thinking about doing nationals, I know that it's been a kind of a point of contention for some people because I know it's a little bit more expensive to get. Well, it's a lot more expensive to get out to the East Coast than it is to say go to here or Thunder Bay or whatever. For any Manitoba competitors that are going, I will be there. I'm going to go there. I think that Gian's going to come. I'm not 100% sure on that one yet. But I'll be there with I think I have 3 or 4 of my own athletes going out there. But I'm putting it out there to any Manitoba competitor who's there. I will be there and I will help you in any way that I can. If you need like a second or if you need a coach or if you need just help or guidance or whatever. There's the camera going on us right now, so that's the perfect time to wrap this up, I would say. But if you guys need help, I'll be there and I'll be happy to do that for you guys. So just keep that in mind, please.
Till next week.
On that note, we'll wrap it there and I'll see you guys and Devin next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.